This is the Bear Country Outdoors Barely a Podcast. I'm your host, Doug Joyce, and with me is James Forsland and Chris Cantrell. Thanks for joining.
Here we are, we're back, and we're in the cabin this time for the podcast, guys, and let's talk a little bit about the trip. We got a special guest, Matt Hartsock. Good to have you, the one and only.
The one and only, that's what I've been told.
Legends of this man have been floating around on the internets for a long time.
Oh boy.
Oh, man.
99% of them are not true. And the 1% that is true has been told so many times. It can't even be
What is
considered
the tale?
true.
What's the tale, Matt?
They're like Bigfoot stories. Most of them aren't real.
I think since I just met Matt, even though I've heard the stories, this is the first time I met him. He holds up to the hype. He definitely holds up to the hype.
Yep.
It's like I went to his concert and he sang like Chris Stapleton live. It was that good.
It was that good.
It was that good. Yeah.
It's like Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. Sandals, the whole deal. It was incredible.
We've had a pretty eventful week so far.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's talk a little bit about the week. You know, we got 3 bears down.
3 bears right now.
Should be 5.
I'm the lonesome schmuck without one yet.
No, that's okay, Doug.
Should be 5.
Happens to everybody.
We still got tonight for Doug.
We'll see who shot the first bear. It was Chris, right?
Chris got the first bear.
Chris
Yeah.
Technically,
First
bear.
no, I killed the first bear.
Hold
I
on.
didn't shoot the first bear.
I scared the first bear.
Touched a little hair.
We might have
Touched a little hair.
got him on the little sweet spot a little bit.
Yeah.
Scared him in the bushes.
Oh yeah.
It happened.
He did a somersault out of
Yeah,
the
he
apple
did it.
tree.
Yeah, I lawn chaired him out of the apple tree.
Oh, shit.
He's not a fan of apples anymore.
Put the fear God in him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was what, our first night, or
It's like a week ago.
was it?
I don't know how long we've been here. It's Friday. We got here
Almost a week.
almost
6
a
days.
week.
Yep.
Doug's been here a week, right? Didn't you come Friday?
I've been here since
Thursday.
Thursday. Well, I got here Thursday afternoon.
Yep.
But he's leaving us to go to the rodeo. He doesn't want to hunt no
Oh,
more.
jeez. Here we go.
I don't want to hunt. The
Take
rest
it
of the
out on
weekend.
Doug.
Okay, Doug,
Guys.
did I tell you that my wife's going to the rodeo?
You did tell me that.
And my daughter.
To Ellensburg?
And my mother-in-law, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you can say hi to him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guess who's not going?
Chris.
Father of the year.
We're staying in
Husband
hunting.
of the
We're
year.
doing men's stuff, hunting, Doug.
Yep.
We're not going
God.
buckle butt.
Gosh,
what do they
my-
call them? Buckle
My
bunny
hat is
chasing.
so hot in this cowboy hat right now. It's so hot
I
out.
know. It's really hot right here.
got
We
some
were
good
we were
airflow.
going to do it on the front porch, but the sun's out and it's like 6 billion degrees
Yeah.
over here in Spokompton. So
Yeah.
The weather's changed a lot since we've been here. It was really hot first weekend, then it cooled off, had a bunch of rain.
Yeah, what were the first 3 days were like blazing hot.
Yeah, I think it was in
Close
the
to
90s.
100.
95, yeah.
It hit
Yeah.
95 for a while,
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
miserable.
and then it went to down to like what, 60?
This is like 50s and 60s.
Flash
the last
flooding
couple
the
of
other
days.
day. It
Yeah.
was raining so
Yeah.
hard.
Got an all night of rain and all day of rain. So it's been a interesting weather pattern for August.
so hot. Chicks were naked down at the river. True story.
That's a true story. That's a true story.
And we'll leave it at that, I guess.
Nothing to write home about. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't take any notes.
No.
No.
It's been pretty funny. We've had a good time. So Chris,
So, yeah.
why don't you start us out with your first bear that you got?
Oh, it seems like so long ago. Oh, I'm so tired.
Like it was yesterday.
Like it was yesterday. Well, there's a spot called the Death Hike that my good friend James was showing me, and I was up there with T and Doug, and there's a bunch of draws, a big huge face, bunch of fingers coming down, and honestly, I thought there was a bunch of berries in Doug's draw. I thought Doug was gonna shoot a bear, like a bunch of berries.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to the second draw where you had shot a bear last year, and I wanted some redemption because I missed a bear like 374 times there last year, in stupendous fashion, by the way. It was incredible. So I was sitting over there and glassing, and I had brought a call. I got a new call, and I thought that I was going to call one out. And I was sitting there for a bit and glass, and then there's a bunch of cattle.
Mhm.
like way more cattle than I think we're used to.
Everywhere
a
we've
lot of
been,
black
there's
cattle too. So
yeah,
that
black
throws you
cows,
off.
a lot of
Mhm.
calves too,
A lot of
Yeah.
calves.
a lot of calves.
Yep.
So
we have to really be cautious.
yeah, like bear size calves.
Mm-hmm.
And they were in the bottom of that draw, and I thought for sure, I was like, this is blowing out. Nothing's going to be in here. And then
Bears and cows.
bears and cows. It's a pro tip for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Bears and cows, they like each other.
They hang out.
Yeah, they do hang out.
Only during the certain times of the year when the bears are leaving them alone.
Yeah.
They try to blend in. It's a technique.
It's their camouflage.
It's a camouflage.
Incognito.
Like, moo!
Incognito bear.
Yeah.
That bear just moved over there.
So I was thinking about doing
That
some
would be the
calling.
day, Matt.
The bear's like, no, I'm a cow. Moo!
When I'm looking through them through the scope, I'm like, oh, cow. Oh, what's that? Is that a bear? He's like, woo!
All right, keep going.
That's classic Hartsock. So this bear didn't identify as a cow because I was sitting there glassing and my butt started to hurt, even though I'd made myself a nice little hide there. I kind of dug out the hillside, and I got up to take a pee, and I was like, I'm just gonna stretch the legs and walk like up into that draw, into that timber, see if there's any sign, or I don't know what the hell I was doing. I was just bored. And so I made it like 3 steps, like literally took a pee, turn around, and then there's a bear coming out of the brush in the bottom of that. And I was like, ugh. So literally, like, I had my bipods, like they were, because I got those like triple extension bipods, so I had them extended all the way out already when I was sitting there, so I could shoot off my bipods from a sitting position, but I didn't want to collapse them because they kind of make a little bit of noise when you pull them out. So I had them folded all the way up, so I just folded those suckers down and like dropped down, and I mean, very unlike me, and made a really, really fast shot.
Yeah.
Because
that's how you're supposed to do it.
well,
Cowboy style.
they
Yeah, then you don't think about it.
well, they come in and out of the brush so fast there.
Yep.
Yep.
You know,
That's
It's-
everywhere.
they don't give
over
you a
here.
lot of
They
time.
can,
No.
they can be out in the open, wide open, and for 1 second, the next second they drop in that draw, and it's out of your life forever.
Well, it's a bunch of like coolies, so they got
Yeah.
those fingers, and they're just over one, under one, or they just run down and they're gone.
and it doesn't. They don't look very deep.
No.
Those fingers don't. I mean, like
not,
the little,
not from one side hill.
yeah, on the side hill, like the brush doesn't look that deep, and you
Yeah.
get down there and it's like freaking 12 feet tall.
Yeah.
Yep.
They
You
get
can't
in
see
them,
anything.
they're gone.
Tunnels through them and everything.
Yeah, so and I didn't, like I said, he came out and he was walking directly. It wasn't very far, like 200 yards, but he's walking directly away from me in the bottom of that. So I just put it right in the middle of his back, which is probably one of my favorite shots
Yeah.
on
it's
a bear.
definitely one of my favorite shots.
And freaking anchored him. He dropped, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Didn't
then
move.
Didn't move. Didn't even take a
What
step.
did this
Done.
bear look like?
That was a freaking stunner.
Stunner.
Chocolate bear, yeah. Really, really nice hide.
Yeah,
on the
had a
size
beautiful-
on the size scale, I would say, depending on what you think is average, maybe an average bear,
Yeah.
maybe slightly below average. know?
I think it was a great bear.
They're all good bears.
It wasn't a huge bear.
You know, when we're hunting an area where you have 6-7 bears on one face on one mountainside,
yeah.
I think that there's a good need for predator management.
Well, we got our, not to harp on this, but we got our spring bear season stolen by Lorna and her goons, and so everyone here in camp bought 2 tags, and I think it's pretty important that we do our best we can to hammer those out because it's a shit show out here.
Yeah, we're trying. There's a lot of bears here.
We-
And there's a lot of bears.
I think
all
there was
over
more
the state.
bears here 2 weeks ago. The berries are
Yeah.
dying out. There's still tons of bears, but they're
The food's
2 weeks
becoming
ago
harder
would've
to
been-
come by.
Yeah.
at least our honey holes would have been a lot more berry
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure all parts of the state
or
have
different.
bears hitting off at different times, but we were 2 weeks, probably 2 weeks too late
Yeah.
on the berries. I mean,
A lot of
we always do
areas.
it. We just do what we always do, and we grind it out with whatever food we can find, and
Yeah.
pick up the scraps,
Pretty
basically.
much.
Yeah.
We've seen bear every day, so
One of these years, we're gonna hit it.
You
at
have.
perfect time.
yeah.
Don't rub it in, Matt.
Well, I'm just saying, even with the berries gone, we're still seeing tons of bear. So if
Well,
the berries were in, Doug would see bear.
It's all because you're beating feet, though. Like, none of these are off the road, by the way. Like, all of these
No.
are like, holy
Well, that's why they're there.
We
they're
haven't
by the
seen one
road.
off of the road except for the one that me and Matt glassed up from 700 yards.
Yeah,
And that was on a,
we called Chris.
that was a dirt road in the middle of East Jesus. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we would have, I mean, Chris built me a dope sheet and I had figured out the night before that it's not meant to. I'm not meant to do long range as much as I thought
That's
I
what
was.
Jim said.
We're
And then he's like, "No, I'm not. I'm still a 400-yard type of guy." And then we get there and like glass the bear up, and Jim's like, "That's a mile away." I'm like, "Really? It's not. Let me range it." And it's like, what was it, 650?
Yeah.
And Jim's like, "I just got a dope sheet made. I can do it. Chris said I can." I'm like, "We've never reshot that far. Let's hike over to him."
That's my fault. I need to. We're gonna have a little training class here.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
It's
So
doable though.
I've never shot over 400.
Mm-hmm.
You know, on an animal. I've shot 400 or 500 yards many times with just throwing around out
Well,
there.
where
but-
Chris
Right.
was, that's definitely doable over there. I mean, it's perfectly straight across.
Oh yeah, no,
But
Chris
not
can
if
do
you've
it.
never done it.
And we'll get more into why I wouldn't do that again in here. in a
I
little
think
bit.
he has more of a better built gun for doing that.
Oh
type of
yeah, I
shooting.
mean, I'm shooting a Model 700 wood stock,
yeah.
stock off the shelf. I mean, I think Chris did the trigger on it, but that's
Yeah, I
the
mean,
only
it's a
real-
nice gun. It's pillar bedded and glassed, and
Yeah,
you can with the right loads. It just takes practice. I mean, I yank a trigger thousands and thousands of times a year just for my job.
just give
That's
me
not-
a 308.
Yeah.
It's not because
Just give me a trusty 308.
Yeah, I'd be throwing rounds off at. Okay, aim 6 feet over it.
Hey, that 308 that I got in the trailer, she was
Oh,
pretty
dude.
good.
We were
Yeah, it
shooting
does.
rocks at what was that 450?
Yeah.
It was a little over 400
Yeah, just from the cabin here,
offhand.
offhand. Yeah, and then I go try to shoot a bear, and
Yeah.
we'll get more to that story. But
But so I packed the bear out and came back to camp, and all the guys helped me skin it out, and we're off grid here. So Walt had his generator running and cooled the chest freezer down. We got it put in there and all caped out, cut up, and ready to go on a number 2.
Chest freezer's money.
there's a
Yeah.
pro tip, by the way, if you don't have a walk-in cooler setup, but you have a generator and a cheap chest freezer, you can stay all week and just keep throwing stuff in there. We got 3 bears in that little freezer right now.
Stacking it like
Except for,
cordwood,
except
but it
for
can't
I think
fit
it's
another one.
full now.
No, it couldn't fit another bear. Doug's deer, if we almost got today, would have been
Yeah, that I just missed.
yeah.
But
Well, Doug's done hunting. He's going to the rodeo, so
no, he's not. He's going to stay and hang out with us. Pro tip on the chest freezer, James made it a point that you need air movement in there. You can't just stack shit on top of each other.
oh yeah.
Because I know I mentioned this before, my Alberta hunt, that's what the guy did, and just stacked everything on top of each other, and we lost all our meat and
Yeah.
lost a bunch of hides too.
the,
So
the only reason it's working now is because Chris's went in first,
Froze
froze up quite a bit,
Yeah.
and then the next day we added more, and then we've been rotating.
yeah,
as
you
we
gotta
go.
move it around
Yeah.
and make sure there's airflow, and you can't just stack a bunch of shit on top of each other, otherwise everything will go bad.
No, the middle would not be good.
Yeah. And that was bear number 1 in camp.
That was bear number 1.
And then
That same night,
No.
No, next night.
It
no,
was
the
next
same
day.
night when Chris was sitting there, almost within minutes of each other, I was on the other side of the mountain,
Oh.
yeah, and I hear
Was I with you?
yeah, you were with
That
me.
was the same night. Okay, yeah, we
that was
did.
a good
okay.
bullet noise too.
It all-
dude.
oh, I
It
know.
does-
blends
sounded just
together.
like that.
I mean, it's a 300 Ultra Mag.
I was a canyon away too, so like I got the echo and the
Yeah. So you were the closest. You
Yeah.
you probably heard it the best.
Yeah, I didn't hear it. All
Yeah.
I heard is Chris's shot.
So I don't know. Matt probably tell the story better because he's the one who spotted the bear.
Well, yeah, you were sleeping.
No,
Yeah.
I wasn't
Yes, you
sleeping.
Mm.
I was running the glass forever and nothing. And then Jim was sleeping, so I started taking videos of him sleeping. And then I knew it
Classic.
started to rain. I'm like, oh, he'll get up here shortly because he's looking straight up at the sky. And I was just watching the rain hit him. He's like, and then he wakes up, and it wasn't long after that. I was just glassing up, and it's at the highest point we could see. This bear just starts coming down, but that grass is like up there. It was like this tall, so all you
Like
could see was
chest high.
his head.
Yeah.
He's coming down, and I told Jim because it was way out of my shooting. I can't shoot that far. I knew it was far, but I didn't know it was that far.
And apparently I can't either.
Vern's over there snoring.
Yeah.
while we're doing the podcast.
Dentures are falling out.
So they're drooling on Matt's pillow.
Oh, get your own pillow.
Classic.
Anyways,
Good stuff here at the hunting cabin.
Just so everyone is clear of the situation here, we're doing the podcast right now, but just minutes before, I was like, we're doing the podcast, and everyone was laying in bed trying to take a
ready
nap.
to take a nap because
Yeah,
we've been
midday
hunting our
nap.
asses off all
It's been
week.
a long week.
But
And
Back-
anyways, that bear came running down, and Jim's like, "Oh, I could shoot that far," and I ranged it. It was 452, and I said, "No." Jim was just gonna go off of his gut instinct. I don't know what it was.
it probably would have been better than what I did.
Maybe I was like, "Man, that's like a lot of football fields away." But anyways, I was like, "I got a range find. Let's range it." I'm like 452, and he's like, "Okay, dead bear," and he shot, but I don't know what happened there. It went over or under.
I think
But
it
I
went,
think
it
I
went
yelled,
under
"You
for
hit
sure.
it! You got it!" Because
Oh, yeah.
it leaped forward,
Yeah.
and then it ran down, and it sat down.
Now, in the meantime, I had the camera all set up on the bear, zoomed all the way in, and
This
forgot to hit record. So the whole time I think the camera's rolling, it's not rolling at all.
Well, this is the second time
James
you
is
messed
the
up
best
on a camera.
video guy.
Oh, dude, my camera skills are.
My first bear, we get to the hill, and he messed the camera up. I don't know. Did you hit it with your elbow?
I had it all set up, and then I went to back you up on the rifle, and I banged the tripod, and it moved over a little bit.
Back me up or beat me to the punch. I'm not sure yet, but either way, the camera got bumped.
We'll
and
never
the bear,
know.
The bear's long gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll never know on that one.
Yeah,
But yeah, so that bear, Matt goes, "You hit it,"
yeah.
and it runs downhill, kind of like it got hit.
It sat down,
And it sits down, and
It's
he's like, "Oh, he's wounded,"
I'm like,
you know.
man,
And
his
I'm like,
hips or something must have came out. He's sitting on his ass.
but I'm looking through it through the scope, and it just looks like he's like looking around.
yeah, I think he just squatted back. To
And
look
so
down.
I crack off another shot, and
it leaped into the bushes.
it leaps in the bushes and it takes off, and it's gone. And I'm like, ah, crap. And I was like, I think it might have went down. And
I'm like,
Matt's oh yeah,
oh yeah,
he's dead.
Oh yeah.
You got him.
Then all of a sudden, like, what was it, like 5 minutes later?
Yeah, another bear. Well, a bear walks out kind of in the same thing. We're
like
oh,
right
look,
where that
another
bear had gone, it comes out on this open face on the other side of the draw.
We didn't want this. To be
And I'm-
honest with ourselves,
No.
that was the bear. Like, oh look, another bear, a different bear. It just.
And I'm like,
it must
I'm-
have seen our dead.
And I'm watching it walk, and I'm like, oh yeah, that bear's not wounded at all.
It's not wounded at all.
And so I missed both shots. I think I held at the top of its back, even with a 300 Ultra Mag, and it was uphill too. I should have been aiming about a foot above it, probably.
Yeah.
But you know, you live.
It
live
kind of
and you
happened
learn.
fast,
Learn.
and
I thought I could make that shot, and
in these coolies we're hunting, if you don't shoot faster, I mean they're just gone.
yeah. And when he was dropping into the brush
When-
that was 30 feet high.
If you would have, you
Yeah.
didn't shoot when you
So-
did, he would. We just
He
wouldn't
was
have got a
going into
shot.
one of his tunnels.
Mm-hmm. And that's the way it is with bear hunting. You take what you get, and
Where
try to
these
make it
choke
quick.
cherries are, they're all in those coolies, and they just disappear. They poke up real quick, and then they're gone.
mm-hmm.
So otherwise, you're just gonna be seeing bears. You're not really gonna be shooting them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we moved into the next day, which was that the
Same face.
Mm-hmm.
Same
All these
face,
bears
different
came off
draw.
the same face. Hey there.
What's up, Walt?
Walt's just walking into the podcast here after his midday nap.
No big deal.
So you shot the first bear on the second day, right?
First bear was
Yeah.
the
Third day.
first night.
Make sure you're talking
No,
into your
no,
mic,
no.
Jim.
The-
Otherwise, you ain't gonna hear yourself
the-
talking.
Your first
Not
bear.
the apple tree bear. The
Oh yeah, same night you shot.
Yeah.
your bear,
So you
yeah.
can tell that story.
Well, no, we just talked about your miss. Oh, then it goes to me. I shot my bear.
because you shot.
We're
the-
going
we,
off
we
of
double,
the in
well, no,
order.
we doubled up. Me and Jim doubled up that night, so
Yeah.
I didn't know where we were going with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I went kind of where Jim
Well, start out with the whole story.
whole story.
What happened?
Oh yeah, okay, I forgot about that. Well, where did we go with that?
Don't you remember?
I remember a little bit.
We were up on the other face. We drove around.
Oh yeah, we drove around. Okay, yeah. And we spotted this bear from where Chris eventually was sitting doing the long shots
Uh-huh.
if it came back. But we contemplated on calling Chris because we looked across the ridge and it was just like 700 yards away.
650.
Yeah, and after I
Yep.
convinced Jim that he can't shoot this thing that far, or maybe he could, I don't know. Me and Jim drove down the mountain.
We'll never know.
We'll never know. Because there was a chance. We spotted it and it went into the timber.
Yep.
So we figured he was just going to stay in there and either come back out or we'd kind of, well, I guess we just thought we'd catch him out there again. And anyways, we went in there like little mouse in church. I mean, like
Creeping.
every time to hit something, Jim would be like, but we ended up getting into that first draw and he wasn't there. So I asked Jim, I'm like, Jim, do you want to stay and shoot the big bear? And he's like, no.
It was a big bear.
It was
too.
a nice bear. You shoot that bear. I'm gonna go to the third ridge and we'll double up tonight. I'm like, oh, okay.
That's James, by the way. Everyone at camp calls him Jim. It's James. For the viewers at home.
I'm not calling him James ever.
I know.
Ever.
I just setting the stage.
I go
Okay.
by many names.
So they know, like, who is
Okay.
he talking
The man
about?
of
Who's this
many
Jim
names.
fella?
Jim.
Jimbo.
Anyways, so Jim drops me off and kind of coaches me, tells me get above so you can look straight at where he was. And I was so focused on where he was coming out. Luckily I was, because it's like this, and I wanted
Straight
to be
up,
I wanted to be
straight up.
laying down kind of when I shot, so I had to kind of carve a spot out because I was focused on the cherry trees because those are the only ones that had fruit. Nothing else has fruit really,
Yeah,
so I
that
figured he was
whole
going to come
hillside.
right back to that. And there was a couple down below that had fruit,
yeah.
but I was like, he's going to come back to that one. So I had my bag all set up, and a couple hours later, I kind of started giving up on the big one. But about that time, I'd have to stand up a little bit so I could look down at the other cherries. And this is like a couple hours later after Jim dropped me off, about 6:15 or something.
Mhm. It took me a long time to get over. to
Yeah,
my
you had a
area.
long walk. And I peek up to look at the cherry trees down below, and I can see like a head bobbing like right next to me. I'm like, whoa. And that little, it was smaller bear. It was your average bear. Came over the top, but it was like 40 yards from me. But I had my gun all set up to shoot 200 yards towards the other cherry tree, and he just kept kind of going that way. But I got on him almost at 40, but then he disappeared in that tall little, there was 3 ditches before you get there. He ran down. I kind of got on him, but it wasn't a good shot, and I already had him one mess up. Now I'm having mind games. I'm like, oh boy, don't miss again. I'll never hear the end of this. And he went over another thing, and I knew he was right by that cherry tree where the big one disappeared, and he turned back. I don't know if he winded me. He was looking at me just straight on, so I knew it was 200 yards, so I didn't have to guess, and I was already set up on my backpack, and I just put it on his chest, and I shot, boom, and he just leaped forward, and I didn't see him, but then I seen a bush thrash around, so, and those coolies, they get down there, and I didn't know if he was still running.
They're
but-
deceivingly deeper than they look too. From the
Oh, yeah.
when you look at them, they kind of
Yeah, and
dip down.
I didn't know if I hit, I'm pretty sure, but I thought I hit the last one real hard too, so I didn't know what was going on. And so I was
Yeah, a
like,
lot of confidence going on.
yeah. And so I picked up my stuff. I was like, okay, well, give him time. We'll go over there. I really only gave him like 10 minutes. I couldn't take it anymore. And I go running over there, and right where
Oh, boy.
once you get across those coulees, like 50 yards away, you look back,
Yeah.
everything looks different.
Everything looks.
So I'm like, okay, I think, yep, it was that bush right there was shaking. I start getting in there. I'm like, no, he's in here. And I start like lifting stuff up. I'm like, because when they ball up on those hills, sometimes they look like they're this big
Yeah.
when they're balled
Yeah.
up.
yeah.
I just start tearing this little choke cherry bush section apart, going, he's got to be in here. And then I'm not seeing blood. I'm like, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. And then I look back. I'm like, wait, I can't even see where I'm shooting from. There's no way he was here. So I kind of start walking up the hill. I'm like, okay, there's where I was shooting. There's my spot. I'm like, oh, I got one more draw to go over. And I go over, and there he was, all
There he was.
piled up. No blood, though.
No blood.
So no, none at all. I went to where I shot him. He only went like 30 yards rolling and stuff, but no blood.
Pro tip though, when they're fall fat bears like that, they don't bleed because that fat just whoop,
Yeah.
sucks right across the wound.
No bloods.
No bloods.
Yeah, and your bear didn't bleed either.
Mm-mm. And between me, the bear that Matt shot, and my bear, it was like what, 15
minutes after
difference.
I shot, I was kind of waiting. Like I said, I waited like 10, 15 minutes. It wasn't very long. I was trying to tell myself an hour.
Mhm.
I think I would have waited a little bit longer, but that's when I heard your shot. I didn't hear the boom. I just heard it go up the valley though.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's got to be Jim, so I should probably get working on mine because it's gonna be a long night if he's God's a giant bear like he normally does.
And it was.
Yeah, and it was. So luckily I was able to throw mine, get mine all down to the truck by myself. Got it on my backpack and got it down the truck. Well, I get to the truck and we're in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, oh no, there's no cell phone service, but on the top of that mountain a little bit.
Yeah.
Not a cell phone service, just it might get a text out because we all have different stuff. And then so I'm down at the truck with this bear, and I'm like, Jim doesn't leave the keys in the truck.
I know. We usually
Jim is
I
a
leave
long
the
ways
keys like in
away.
the bumper or something, but for whatever reason we were in a hurry because we
left them in your pocket.
I left them in my pocket because we got all flustered when we saw the bear up on the hill that we were going after.
Well, it got dark too. It was starting to get dark. I'm like, whoa.
And so I'm thinking, crap, how is he gonna get? Because he did get a message out to me
That
a
was
bear.
But that was did I miss? That was a long time after.
Yeah,
I got down the road and I ran down
I couldn't get a hold of
mile
you.
or so, wherever, maybe further, to where I'm like, I'll just go down to draw 3. And then by that time it was dark. I'm like, maybe if I flash a flashlight and start screaming, you can hear me. Nothing happened. I'm like, I guess I'll just hike up there. And then I heard Chris's diesel way down the valley. I'm like, well, I'll just wait here.
Mm-hmm.
And then Chris knew, and then from there we hiked in.
Chris drove from where he was hunting, which was way far away, by the way.
Yeah, it was
And
a long
I
drive.
sent him a message, like I said, bear down, And at that point, I didn't know, no, you know what? Hold on. We should rewind because if we're getting ahead of ourselves in the story of where I shot a bear.
Oh,
Right.
And now I'm just telling the back part of the story. So
Rewind. All right, now
back to what's going on here. So Matt shoots his bear.
he's dealing with
Yeah,
that.
He's dealing with that. Minutes later,
James shoots a bear.
James shoots
So,
the bear. Well,
I go onto this big far draw. It's the farthest draw. It's almost 5 miles.
It's huge.
it's a long ways away.
It's a long ways away, and it's steep. It's nasty.
We were
and-
over there a couple days before that.
Yeah, but it produces bears, and some big bears too. So I'm working my way all the way over there. It takes me like an hour and a half to get to where I was from Matt. And I'm sitting down and I'm waiting. And you're always thinking, okay, someone's going to pop out anytime. And nothing happens for a long time. And I have to admit, a couple times I almost dozed off. But I was like, no, it's coming on prime time. I can't do that. And
He dozed off.
no, I didn't doze off at all. And just out of nowhere, like these bears just like have this tendency to just appear out of thin air sometimes.
Right.
Like you don't see him
Yeah.
coming. It's just like there's nothing, there's no movement. You don't hear anything, and all of a sudden, boom,
Materialized.
there's just a bear, and
Yeah.
you're like, holy crap! And this bear just pops out of this draw, and before he popped out, and then was on this open hillside before I even I just like am like doing a scan. I was looking uphill. And I'm scanning back, and I'm like, "Oh, geez, it's in the wide open."
Right.
And it's just moving towards this big berry patch. And I'm like, okay, I don't have much time. Once it gets to that berry patch has hawthorns and choke cherries and all kinds of stuff in it. And it's thick and it's nasty. And it's like 10 feet tall. And so I'm like, first of all, trying to get the camera set up. And that's a hell of a time because it's like a grade, like I don't even know. It's steeper than steep. So it's like trying to get the tripod,
Yeah.
it was kind of set up,
Not
but
meant for
I had to move the
being on steep
camera.
hills,
and then,
unless you
so I
got
get that
some
on
time.
there first. I get the camera set. Then I'm ranging it and I'm trying to hit range. Okay. I see where it's at, but it's moving. And then I'm trying to get my dial done. And then I'm trying to look at my dope sheet that Chris had just built me, 3 hours prior.
Right.
Yeah, too much going on.
And
Well, and if you don't know Jim, every bear is like his first bear when he's like 10 years old.
yep,
He
exactly.
gets so dang excited, it makes you get excited, and all hell breaks loose every time. It's not like, oh yeah, I got my rangefinder out, and I got my bipod out, and then I was like, oh, you little bugger, hold there. It's usually like just a tornado.
Yep,
And
exactly.
then you can just hear it in Jim's voice, and so I start panicking sometimes. I'm like, "Oh shit, what am I doing?" And then it just like
Chris
hunting.
can attest to that too.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
I didn't take it very well.
like
I
on
missed-
on
that's
my
when I missed like 30 times.
like on my first one, we had to hike up that hill to where we were going, and then right when we got there, the bear was already there at the apple spot we were at. Apple tree. It's not in someone's yard. It's in the it's an old place.
Yeah.
But anyways,
At Martha's house.
yeah.
At 327.
Martha's Vineyard.
Well, when you say apples, I was like, oh, wait, now they're thinking we're over some
It's at
state
Granny,
power or something, but
Granny
it's
Smith's apple trees.
It's an old apple tree on an old homestead somewhere.
Yeah,
but,
it's an old homestead.
and we had to hike around because I was there the night before.
We're switching back to Matt's first story right now, by the way, folks.
I'm getting
We're
confused.
jumping around all over the
Well,
place.
I'm talking
That's how
about.
we do it.
Well, you're telling everyone how you get set up, and they're like, oh yeah.
I'll get excited. No, go
Yeah,
ahead. Finish
and then-
that story.
So we hike around the night before the bear came in, and he jumped in and down and couldn't get a shot. So,
and of course, I was giving you shit. Like,
well, you weren't with me, so I didn't have to get as excited as normal. I kind of was like, oh, there's not really anything I could have done. Well, the next day, Jim's like, well, we can't go up that way. The wind's wrong. So we had to go hike all the way around and up this big ridge so we could get on top of him because that's the only way the wind worked.
the wind has to work.
As soon as we get to the top of the ridge, I'm like, I'm getting ready to put my stuff down. Jim's like, he's in the tree. He's in the tree. And then stuff just starts flying. I'm like, holy moly, what's going on? And hear bipods coming out, cameras. I'm like, oh man, what's... Jim's like, you need me to take him? You want me to back you up? You want me to take him? I'm like, no, I got this. Just give me a second.
So excited.
We're a little ways away.
That's perfect, by the way.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh, isn't there? We're working on number 20 bear, Jim. Calm down. Jeez, it ain't an albino bear or anything down there.
I get excited about bears still.
Yeah, and then so I'm kind of getting excited, and I knew kind of when I was setting up, I grabbed my tripod, and I was getting on, and I was kind of like more shaky than normal, and I had like 7 energy drinks that day. And Jim got me a little excited, and the hike in there, I was like looking through, and it's kind of blurry. I'm like, holy moly, I don't know about this. Here we go. Jim's like, take him in the tree, take him.
No, I was not. I have all this on video. You can
Finish him. And then he falls out of the tree. But yeah, I know how excited Jim gets. It's like, whoa.
Yeah. So anyway,
That's probably why he likes hunting so much.
Just skimmed that bear. Just took a little bit of hair off.
Yeah.
of
Oh
it.
yeah, a little bit of hair.
Yeah.
But I was shaking like a leaf. I don't know why.
Which happens.
Oh.
Dude, bears get you jacked.
Yeah.
Like, especially when you're hunting really hard.
I
and you're
try not
working
to
towards
get that
moment,
jacked.
There's not a lot of action, and then when
Yeah.
it happens, you're like,
Well,
It
I've
hits
been
you
trying to learn
real
now not to
fast.
get that excited so that I don't make mistakes like that.
You
But
can't control it though.
Jim cannot control it.
I can't control
Never
it.
has, never
I've
will.
just learned to use gain my composure during it. Like, I still get really excited, but then when the time comes to shoot, like, I try to get myself calm. But
Just gotta use it.
that'll bring me back to a lie, because I'll tell you about what happened next once that bear walked out. So I get everything lined up. Now we're switching back to my story here. I get everything lined up, and I look at the dope sheet. I turn my dial to the right spot, and this bear is like kind of working across the face, and I'm sure you'll see it in the footage if it ever comes out. And I get all set up, and I'm leaning back on this hillside. So I got my bipod stretched out, but it's so steep, there's nothing to rest off of. It's just like straight down. So I have it fully extended, but it's a little too high.
That's a terrible way to shoot.
Oh, dude, it's
so
the worst
uncomfortable.
way. It's
so
so uncomfortable. And so I'm leaning back, and I'm like way back, and I'm looking through. I have my gun on my cheek, and it's further back from the scope than I want to be, because I have to.
Right.
And I'm digging I have this big ripped up elbow spot here because I was digging it into the rocks trying to plant my elbow to get set, you know?
Right.
And then my bipod won't go down far enough. And if I let it down more, it's just going to go way too far down.
Right.
So I'm just forcing my gun down, pushing, like just manhandling it and just like mangling my bipod. I can hear it like kick, like it's going to break. And forcing it down. Finally, I get it down far enough. Okay, I'm steady on the bear. I feel pretty rock solid, and I'm holding on it, and I'm like, okay, he turns, and it's now or never, because he's about to go into that, like, he's on the edge of the thick nasties. He's going one more step, and he's gone for a long time, probably, or might not see him for the rest of the night.
Right.
Well, it was getting dark.
And
quick,
so I'm
too.
like, okay, now or never, and I just go, and I had my earplugs in, and I could hear the impact of the bullet when it hit, and it was loud. It was like, and it was like, bap. I was like, and the bear's just like, oh shit. And it starts running, and I'm like, that was not a hit, because
Yeah.
I'm shooting a 300 Ultra Mag.
Yeah.
And it starts running through that berry patch, and it comes into this open hillside, and it slows down like, whew, that was a loud, weird sound. And I'm just like, okay. I try to range it again, and I'm like, okay, at this point, I'm starting to panic, and it runs down farther. It's still moving, and I'm trying to play with my dial. And anyone who's missed or like shot at a bear or any animal for that fact, and you're trying to get that second shot in, you're already in panic mode.
Yeah.
Like, oh crap, I'm trying to play cleanup here. And
never goes well.
it took me a long time to shoot the second shot. You can see in the footage. And it's standing there, and then it turns towards me, and I'm just like, okay, I'm going to put it right at its chest. And as it's walking, even if it takes a step, maybe I'll hit it in the back, because it's downhill from me. And I shoot, and same thing, hits like rock or dirt or whatever it's hitting in the background. And the bear just like puts it in high gear and starts barreling down the hill. And it's a big fat bear, big fat chocolate bear. And it's just rolling. Like it's got that run where it's just like there's fat jiggling everywhere.
Right.
It looks like a big butterball running down the hill. And I'm just like, and it's getting closer to me because it's running towards me. And I had one round in my gun left, and I'm trying to, this time I'm like, I'm not messing around. I turned my scope back to 0 because it's at like 350-ish maybe. And T and Vern are both asleep, by the way. I can look in. They're over there sleeping. And
T was making fun of Vern for sleeping, but now he's out.
So anyways, just before, it's like that moment where you're about to squeeze off, and then it always like either steps behind something or just disappears, and you're just like, damn, I was this close. Split second more and I would have had him. And I'm just shaking my head like, what is wrong with you? Like, did you get too excited? Were you not set enough? Like, man, he sounds like a chupacabra over there. Like,
I don't know if that's Vern or T.
It's Pikachu. We need some CPAPs in here.
Yeah, something. They're over there snoring. But anyways, so I'm just pissed at myself because it's a big bear. Like, it wasn't like a little bear or like a decent bear. It was a big bear, and it was a chocolate, which I wanted to get a color phase on this trip really bad. And I had missed a bear the night before, so now in my head, I'm like, 2 bears I've missed this week, which is not like me at all. And I'm getting pissed because I'm like, now I feel like I'm in a slump. And I'm just like sitting there and I'm shaking my head. I'm just furious with myself. I'm just like ready to start pulling my hair out or punch myself in the crotch or something. Just like pissed. And I am just like shaking my head, and I'm just going to let it calm down for a second. And all of a sudden I look down below me, and on my hillside, it came across the draw to my side. In the open grass is this bear standing there, and he's taking a few steps, and he walks out of this draw right in front of me at 180 yards. And I'm just like, it's like redemption, and I'm like, oh, you're dead. I make sure it's on 0. I put my scope up again. I'm having the same stupid problem with the bipod and so this time I'm just like, I'm trying to be fast, because it's just popped out right in front of me. And this time I'm just like, and I just like break it. And the bipod's like, and the bear looks up at me, and I'm just like, now or never. Boom. And it smacks. You could hear that. It didn't sound like the other shots, just hollow thump, like boom. And I'm just like, the bear just buckles and starts rolling, and then rolls out of sight. Right. And I'm just like, holy crap, what just happened? Then I go to jack another shell, and I go, I am out of bullets completely. My pack is 100 yards above me because I had dropped down.
That was your last shot.
That was my last shot. And I'm like, if this thing gets up and tries to move or something, like I don't have any rounds. So I immediately, as soon as it rolls out of sight, I start running back up to my pack to get my pack and grab some more shells.
Another pro tip: always keep extra shells in your pockets.
In your pockets or your harness or something.
Harness,
well, no one's really carried a sidearm on him either, besides Doug.
But it's like one of those things. Like,
I haven't even had to use it.
You never think, like, I was sitting next to my pack set up for a shot. Like, and until you're in that moment, sometimes you don't even think about it. Like, oh, I need to grab extra rounds in case I shoot my entire gun empty.
Right.
Well, once again, that's Jim getting super excited.
Yeah.
You probably had your binoculars with you, and so I've been
did.
like keeping all mine in my binoculars since I always have them with
I'm gonna have to start doing that now from now on. But so I get back up to my pack, I grab my stuff, and I pack it all up, and I get it. First, I put shells in my gun and make sure,
Probably clean up the mountain. It looks like a yard sale.
It looks
Jim's digging through, throwing stuff, chasing after this bear.
100% accurate. By the way. And so then I start dropping down and I get the camera because the camera's still set up. I just let it record in case the bear got up. And when I was walking up the hill and started running away, I wanted to be able to see that. So I get back up to the camera and I put it in my pack, and then I drop down to where the bear was. And I get to where I shot it, and I start looking around and I don't see any blood. And I'm like,
Panic
that's
mode.
pretty typical. I'm like, I saw it roll. So then I go down to where I saw it disappear in the draw. I don't see nothing. And I'm like, uh-oh. You know,
didn't
you
see
start...
you didn't see a bowling ball hole in the
No.
timber down there?
No, not yet. And you know that moment where like you don't see it where you think it should be dead, and you start
Panic
going,
mode.
oh,
The
no.
feeling, the pit of your stomach.
Yeah, and you're
Especially
just
since
like,
he missed the bear the day before.
Yep. And so I'm like, oh no, this isn't good. And then I go down farther, and there's a pile of bushes, and I was like, it surely would have stopped in this pile of bushes.
Surely.
Nope.
Surely.
Nothing
Surely
there,
would
and I'm
have took
looking,
a break here in the bushes.
and I'm looking, and I'm like, no. And I'm starting to panic, and I'm looking everywhere for blood. I see no blood whatsoever. And then I come up to this little tiny cliff that kind of drops down. And I'm like, he couldn't have rolled off that and kept going. And I look at the bottom of the cliff, there's nothing there. And I'm like, son of a, and now I'm going, did I just like imagine this bear like running down it just ran and tripped and tumbled once and then kept going. And I'm like, no, I saw it roll for a long ways. And then I look down the hill about another 50 yards from that point on that cliff, and I see this little spot of black and this clump of ghosteberry bushes. And I'm like, that looks like a bear. And I'm like, and I zoom my scope all the way in, and it looks like hair. And I'm like, I think that's a bear. And I start getting excited, like, I think I got it, you know? But then I'm still like in my head, like, oh, I don't know, like until you put hands on it or you
Right.
walk up and you see it dead,
Yeah.
you know? And then I get down there, and sure enough, there it is piled up in this bush, and it's a big, huge chocolate bear. And I'm just like, oh boy. And I was so jacked.
All the bears we got are color phased.
Yeah.
All the three. We've only seen one black one.
One black one.
No, maybe two. I don't know what the other one in the tree was. It looked
No,
chocolate.
it was a chocolate.
It was getting dark, so
they're
it's
all
hard to
chocolates. So every single bear we've seen has been chocolate, except for one black one, which
One
is
black
usually
one.
reverse.
tell. Yep.
Usually all black and
And
maybe
huge,
one color
nice
phase.
coats.
Nice coats on every one of them.
Really nice coats.
So I get down there and I'm start messing around. I send Doug and Chris and Matt each a message. And
I didn't get it.
Hardtalk did not get his, but somewhere along the line you had sent a text message and I got it saying that you had a bear down, and I was like, holy crap,
That's
because I didn't hear your shot.
when I heard your shot. That's the only reason I had any game plan. When I got to the truck, I ran down to the third draw. I just left my bear at the truck and ran down.
Yeah.
And I figured I was gonna have to come up and help you anyways. Or I mean, I just knew you were gonna be up there.
Yeah.
It was easier to run down the road, and I thought, well, maybe if I get down the road far enough. I was just running down the road, watching my phone, like I got to get something going here.
Yeah.
And then I heard Chris, and I was like, oh. And then when we were
Well,
hiking up, eventually, I think that message went to you.
I think I called. Did I call you?
Yeah,
I called you.
me, yeah. And I was still over where I was hunting. And you're like, I shot a bear. I'm like, sweet.
He's like, do you need help? And I'm like,
Yes.
I think I probably do, because I can't get a hold of Matt
Yeah.
No.
at all, and he can't get to his truck. And either way, we have to get a ride back to our truck if we go down. So
Yeah, so it was like, I don't know, 35-minute drive.
It was
Mhm.
dark time you got up to me.
Yeah. And then
you probably got there right at dark.
it was right at dark, and then I knew Hartsock was up to draw, and I'm figuring he hiked back to the truck. I didn't know he had shot a bear. And so I keep driving up the road, and I see a flashlight flashing, that like not even near the truck, like way before the truck.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's there, and he's standing there, and he's just got his flashlight and no backpack, no nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, James shot a bear. We gotta go help him out. And I'm like, where's your backpack at?
I'm
And
like,
he's
I carried a bear down with us at the truck.
I was like, what do you mean you carried a bear down? And he's like he Cam Haynes it, like carried an entire bear down.
I just put the whole thing in, like, because it's like a 120 pound, 130 pound bear. I just gutted him. I'm like, because the night before Chris got one. What's the night before you got one?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you kind of did something similar, but he's got like more of a professional bag for this, and I have some cheap Cabela's one. It's not really designed for this.
Yeah.
But it does unfold and have a frame on it. So I'm like, oh, I'm doing it the same way, gutting them in because I knew I had to go help you because I heard the gunshot.
Yeah.
I was assuming you didn't miss twice. But anyways, I just put that bear on there and I got down to the truck and I just put the whole bear just sitting there on the truck. It's like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, just like drapes across the tailgate.
Yeah.
So we couldn't we couldn't take the trail in because it's even longer. So at the bottom you can go like straight up, and it's like you can imagine if you're looking up this giant draw that goes up literally to the heavens in
Forever.
In the dark.
And he's at the tippy top of this, and that's not the bad part. The bad part is the side hills are all finger draws as well. So you can imagine you're going up, but then you have to go up even steeper and then down, and then up and then down. And you're going up and down while you're side hilling, which is my most favorite thing to do in the whole world. And it's dark. It is like dark. There's cloud cover, so there's zero.
It is
stars.
dark. Well, and you couldn't find any good flashlight. I don't know what you did with him, but we
yeah.
dug through his truck for like 20 minutes looking for a flashlight. Finally, I like, Chris, here's two. It looks like you'd turn on to write a check or something. It's like this big.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
Well, so the night before when I shot my bear, after I packed it out, I was covered. I was soaked in sweat and blood and everything else. So I had taken everything out of my pockets, and because I'd put new clothes on, right?
Yeah.
I'm soaking wet and drenched and smell wonderful. So I was like, I give myself a little Costco, like a baby white bath, and like put new pants on, a new shirt, and then James calls, like, "Hey, shot a bear," and it's up in the hellhole and draw 3. I'm like, oh, great,
lovely.
This is gonna be super great. So we're going up there, and I have a terrible flashlight. I can't see anything. Matt is half mountain goat, so he's like way above me, going 6 million miles an hour, and I am hammered dog shit from the night before. Like my legs hurt so bad, and my back hurts so bad, and I'm trying to make it. I can't keep up with Matt, and so I'm like a little lower, like in the draw, and I'm like, oh, and I think James is low. He's like, I don't think he's that low. I'm like, oh yeah, and James told me.
Well, the low part you were hanging to, I was like up a little higher. I'm like, man, I was trying to stay with you. I'm like, I'm not going in that shithole.
Well, he told me, he's like, he said something. I don't remember exactly the words, but it was something about he didn't want to go through the bottom because it was so thick and terrible.
Chris went aiming right for it.
And so I got like a half a lumen flashlight. I get in this crap. And it's dark, like dark.
I couldn't even see a skunk, and I had a flashlight. I almost got sprayed.
And we had this crazy rainstorm just before that, so everything is soaking wet. And then I get in, and it's just bear tunnels. It's all bear tunnels. And if you've never been in a bear tunnel, I'm 6'4". A bear tunnel is like 3'7". And so I'm on my hands and my knees crawling for like a half an hour, and then it gets to the point where like I'm claustrophobic. I'm about to have a panic attack. And I'm just like, I just start going straight uphill, like I'm smashing trees, and
you already looked sore before we started.
Hammered
too.
When you got up to us.
Oh my god!
Like he was all there to help,
and he's like,
and he was going to do it anyways. But I was just like, oh boy!
He kept saying it over and over again as he was coming up. I f***ed up. Hey guys, I really f***ed up.
He looked like he was in a rainstorm. He had sweat just barreling down.
He's like, I should have never went in that hole. I should have never went in there.
It was horrible.
In the meantime, I'm back here at camp going, I guess those guys are having a good time.
Doug actually called and was like, do you guys need me to come help?
Well, by then it was like,
Chris had just got up to us, and I was like, dude, we got it. Like, between the three of us, we can get that bear off the mountain.
So I finally get up there, and I'm gassed. I'm 127% gassed, but I'm just like, okay, well, now we got to, and we still got to cut the bear up, right?
So cut the bear up.
Start,
started.
So it's a lot of work to cut any animal up, but it's steep, like it is steep.
My job was just to keep it from rolling while you guys were cutting.
So we have this big, huge, gelatinous, fat bear because it's fall bear.
Oh, it's so fat.
James is cutting literal 3-inch slabs of just giant fat off the side of this thing. And so your hands are greasy, this big, jiggly bear, and we're trying to get the hide off and trying to keep it clean.
Yep, we did a damn good job.
Oh yeah, did a super good job keeping it clean. And then we gotta pack it up. And Hardsock doesn't have a backpack.
Well, I wasn't gonna run all the way back to the truck, and I had a bear attached to mine, so I didn't really have any.
And so
I figured we were just gonna old school it, put it on the stick.
So, yeah, Chris had his big pack, thank God.
Yeah.
And I had my pack was full, but I was able to strap
On
the
your
quarter.
meat shelf,
So I think I took the 2 front shoulders and like some random stuff, and then you took like the 2 hind quarters and
Chris had a pillowcase,
backstrap.
and I had a.
Oh yeah, I had a.
No,
I thought
you
I
had the pillowcase.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he had a pillowcase with him.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I opened up my.
So I had 2 big game bags.
It was so.
I was
earlier in the
assuming I
year-
was going to carry the hide just like we did on
Yeah,
that last
yeah.
one at the cabin where like we weren't prepared and just this giant pumpkin head bear and carrying the hides or something like this.
So I opened up my bag, and I had been to Alberta in the spring, and everyone needed game bags. And I'm the game bag guy, right? I got all like the really nice like Caribou, like $40-$50 game bags. However much they're expensive, right? They're super
Right.
nice. My dad has all these game bags, and he gives them back, and I have like a Kuyu bag that I put them in, like a Kuyu like game bag like this big, and I open it up, and there's a bunch of like Allen 39-cent game bags
Walmart.
in a Walmart pillowcase, and I'm like,
Walmart
where the
pillowcase.
hell are all my game bags?
Yeah.
And it's like all this crap in there. So I'm just like, well, here's a pillowcase.
It
Matt.
worked good.
It did work.
I tied
good.
a knot in and like hoboed it down the mountain. I was like,
Yeah, so me and Chris packed down all the meat and the fat, and Hardsock
Pack
Well,
the hide out.
had the hide and head
Well, Chris has
in a
got
pillowcase, so we
pillowcase.
stuffed it in there. We barely got it in there.
72
Why didn't you
cubic
cut a stick
inches
and
or
throw
whatever.
it through a stick there,
He
Matt?
should have.
Well,
Should have had a stick, and then he
You
could have
should've
thrown
threw a
over like a hobo.
it would have been so off balance. That thing weighed a lot. It wasn't a small bear.
No, it was
And
a
it's
big
dark
bear.
and downhill. I wanted to carry Chris's bag for him. I felt so bad.
And me and Chris both had like, I don't know, Chris, your bag was probably pushing 100,
Easy.
and mine was probably 100.
I was begging to take Chris's
You
because
did.
I was like,
Matt
my
did,
gosh.
Matt did offer, but I'm super stubborn.
and Chris, being
You
a nice
wouldn't-
guy, was like, hey, use this camera tripod. You know that.
Not
Yeah.
being nice,
yeah.
he was only one smart enough to be like, hey, these legs come
Well,
off.
also it's Chris's tripod that I was using for the camera, and it's, I don't know, like probably a $2,000 tripod.
Yeah, you can take the legs off, and they're all
Yeah.
big, long, heavy, super heavy duty carbon fiber. And luckily we had them because I have like my Costco trekking poles,
Mhm.
which are fantastic.
all you need.
I mean, I don't think the people at home realize how steep this is.
Oh, it's steep. Like what the hillside behind us where the cabin is
It's
pretty.
close.
It's pretty steep,
But it
ain't as steep as what
It
we've
was
done.
brushier. It's brushier than that.
and
oh,
you
yeah.
so like standing up, I could put my arm out and touch the hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have to side hill on this, and it's shale and in grass, and all the grass is folded over and dead, and it's soaking
and it
wet.
was wet. Yep.
And people who know me know that my center of balance is in the top left of my ear, and I can fall over on a flat sidewalk. And so like I'm trying to keep up. James is half ballerina. Same with Matt, and they're just going down, and I'm just like. Matt's,
Stumbling all over
oh
the
yeah,
place.
Matt's behind me. He's like, "You okay, big guy? You doing okay, fella? You need me to take your backpack?" And I'm like, "I'm fine. I'm fine."
He did.
Yeah,
Well, the
Matt
night
makes you-
bef-
Matt makes you feel really manly when you go on hikes like that.
The night before, we go to pick up Chris, and he's got a whole bear. He just walked down by himself. I'm like, oh, we got to go help Chris drag a bear. I'm like, sweet, yes. And we get there, and Chris is down at the road. He looks beat up. And he's
Oh.
got the bear, but he's got one of those big Kuyu giant bags
Like the
that are capable of doing
6,800
it.
cubic inches.
Yeah.
7,200.
So he's
yeah.
beat up
7,200?
from that,
Yeah.
and then when I'm like, it was a night. That was a
Oh,
long night.
It was so when I packed mine out, it was all downhill,
Yeah.
and it was not as steep though, but it's all downhill. So
Yeah.
my quads were just freaking blown to crap, and my back is blown out.
Yeah.
And then we got to do this, and I'm like, all my legs are shaking, and
Well, the grass is wet. We
Yeah.
just got the first like real rain in a long time.
and it was
yeah,
a
it was
it
a
was a
downpour.
big bear.
It was a
Yeah.
big bear.
It was a big bear, yeah. And like Doug said, the downpour was just, I mean, it just
It worked out great that night though, because it made everything really quiet,
yeah.
yeah.
but it sucked to walk on.
Oh, it sucked to walk. on.
Yeah.
Long walk down.
Getting back to the truck was so good, and then
Oh yeah.
I'm so spent.
It was,
And it's like literally drained every ounce of mental energy out of me. And I put my hand in my pocket and I go, oh shit,
car keys.
where's my car keys? And I'm thinking they're back up on the mountain, which I'm just going to sleep at the truck, or I just donated the truck
Yeah.
to East Jesus because I'm not going back up there. And I forgot that I had told
But-
Matt.
Oh, if you had dropped him along the way, we would have never found him.
No. And I told Matt because he was like, "Oh, James didn't leave his keys in the truck." So I was like, "Oh, well, I'll hide my keys in the truck."
But we didn't remember. We're so spent when we're down there. I'm like thinking, "Oh my gosh, he lost his keys." And he's like, "Oh wait, we put them in. I remember you're supposed to remind me." I'm like, "Oh yeah, they're in the gas tank."
Yeah. So it was horrible panic attack.
And what time was it at that point? It was
midnight.
Like midnight.
It was
right?
past midnight.
Past midnight.
We just hit 12:30 maybe.
Yeah, I think it was 12:32.
And so we're heading down, and Doug was nice enough to stay awake all night and cook us dinner.
Oh, so nice.
So
coming
he's
home
like,
to hot
I'm
food.
like, hey, on our way home, honey. And Doug's like, all right, I got it warming up right now.
Yeah.
We had chicken Alfredo waiting for us, so we got back and
ate some food and
ate
then
some
did some work.
food, and then we had to work on Matt's bear more.
We still had to
finish
skin
doing
Matt's bear,
that.
yeah.
It was just like,
Yeah, your bear was almost ready because we had a quarter, but mine was.
Yeah.
I just gutted it and we started
Yeah.
skinning and get it all done.
so then we get done, and it was 3. When I went to bed, it was almost 3:30 in the morning,
I was so tired.
and it was like, Doug is crazy.
It was 2:30 in the morning.
Doug was so-
No, when I went to bed, it was 3:30. You went up and crashed after everything calmed down. You were just like, because you were like, I have to get up at 4.
Doug was on a redemption or something. I'm like, there's
He's
no
like,
way.
I'll be up at 4 a.m. I'm going up there.
Everyone's
got
like, there's
3
no way
hours of
Doug's.
sleep and got back out there.
No one
Didn't see nothing.
Yeah. Well, we all had our best right. Doug, what's he set his alarm clock? You ain't getting up in 2 hours to go hunting.
No.
I woke up at like 8 o'clock. I'm like, where's Doug? He left hours ago. I'm like, really?
Oh yeah, Doug was up at 4
Jeez.
a.m.
I was shocked. I'm sleeping in James's trailer. I go in, I lay down. My head just hits the pillow. And then I hear, "Arr!" And the door opens. Doug's like, T, get up. We're going hunting. And I'm like, what?
Well, that's what I said.
I'm like, I'm not going hunting. I'm going back to bed.
Yeah. And we did, man. What a hunt though! Like we doubled down. We shot 2 bears on the same hill. On the
you
same
called
night.
it that we were going to double down. You're like, no, you take the big bear over here. I'm going to go to the ridge.
Yeah,
We'll double
'cause it
down
was
tonight.
Complete opposite.
Yeah.
Right. No, yeah, it was flipped.
Yeah. But mine's a beautiful, I don't know what you call it, cinnamon
man.
chocolate bear. So.
Matt's was like a light chocolate cinnamon color.
And with
like-
a blonde.
But it was
with a blonde muzzle.
The crazy thing was so I shot my bear
and your
hundreds
hair
of yards from where
was
Matt
gorgeous,
shot
by
his.
the way.
And my hair is a quarter to a third as long as Matt's hair on that bear is so long, and then like the undercoat, is
Underwool,
it's like
like
it's like a
crazy.
beaver.
Yeah,
It's stunning.
It's a beautiful bear. They all are, though.
every single
None
one
of them
had
are shaggy
great
bears.
coats.
Matt's
What-
gonna life size his.
Huh?
Yeah. What?
What'd you say?
I didn't say nothing.
Oh, what did you say?
What?
So
Huh?
you got to life size it.
Oh, life size.
Yeah, he's gonna life
Sorry,
size it.
Amy.
Thanks, Amy.
Next 2 paychecks are going
Amy.
to life size.
Oh, yeah. She's going to make me wait a little bit on that one, but we'll figure out something to do with it.
Oh, dude, life size on that bear would be great. It's such a beautiful,
Dude, it's a stunner. You
stunning
have to.
bear. Like
My wife's
You
not
might
going to let me
never-
have 20 bears in my house.
you might not ever get another bear with a coat that nice.
We always say that, and a couple years later, someone's got something like that.
Yeah, saying the same thing. Next
You
year,
might not
you're
ever
down
get
the
another
road.
one like
I've
that.
only shot in 10 once in a lifetime bears. Okay.
Yeah,
Speaking of, I think we skipped over a very momentous part of this story that Jim, as you call him, or
Yeah.
James as I know him, shot his 20th bear.
20th bear. That's,
Oh yeah,
20th. That's a big deal.
I didn't realize it until we were on the mountain skinning it, and I was like, "Oh crap, this is my 20th bear."
That's so many bears.
For
I was-
Washington.
Yeah,
They're all
almost
Washington.
all Washington. I think
One Montana.
One
one
Montana.
Montana bear. Yeah,
So in Washington, that's a huge deal. Maybe
19.
if you live in Alaska
Yeah.
or Canada, that's
So
not
if
a
I
big
shoot
deal.
one more bear on this trip, which
Could happen.
I mean it's a tall order, but it might happen.
It's coming down to the wire.
That would make 20 bears in Washington State and 21 bears for me. I'd be old enough to drink if I was counting bears in
You're
death.
counting bears.
Oh boy.
Well, we got to keep it up because there's a bunch of shitheads on our Fish and Game Commission that are trying to ixnay all the bear hunting.
Oh, dude, my goal is to kill as much bears as I can this year.
It's straight predator trip though.
Well,
so
that's two.
Yeah.
I think we had.
You got one left.
You have a call. Doug has a call. I have a call. So we've been predator calling too, like crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Today is opening day of Cougar.
yeah. So cougar, coyote, bear, anything comes out.
I wanted to tell one other quick story from earlier in the trip that is pretty hilarious.
We've
And
been here
that-
for a long time.
Dude, I know. We've been here a long time. And that was the rattlesnake story.
Oh,
that's a good one.
That's day. That's day 2.
So,
That was a long time
I
ago.
don't know. Should we tell the rattlesnake story? No, you know what? Let's save that for another podcast.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to say, let's save it for another podcast
Good.
because
I hate them damn things.
I think we're probably coming up on over an hour here, Doug.
Probably.
Should we do a cabin giveaway?
A cabin giveaway? You
Yeah.
want to give away something that's here? at
we
the
can
cabin?
give them. We can give them an
Some of those-
autographed
some of
photo
those-
of the Legends of the Cowboy Trail.
We could pick a DVD out of
Yeah.
the special collection.
Yeah. Which one do you want?
A
Hook?
special edition. Signed by
Some
James
of these
Forsland.
movies we've seen millions of
How
times.
about the rack of 3 old bananas that have been sitting up in the rafter?
All these movies can go besides Kevin Costner's movies. All we watch is Tin Cup and Dances with Wolves anyways.
You don't even watch Tin Cup. You fall asleep when you put it on. Because you've seen it a million times.
It's pretty much every time we come to the cabin, we're just watching
How about
Tin
this?
Cup.
Jar of
Chris,
beans.
Chris, why don't you get up and grab one of those boxes of knives?
Oh, I thought
Oh,
you
yeah,
were
there
I
you
thought
go.
you were pointing at the beans. I was
No,
like, no,
we
I want
can't
the
get
beans.
Oh
You
yeah,
can't
we
give
can give
those.
one. We can give one away. There's like 20 of them.
I don't care as long
Can
as
we do it as a Matt Hartzog giveaway?
give it as a Matt Hartzog giveaway.
Okay, this is the special edition Matt Hartzog giveaway. Okay,
Well,
let's
they're-
see.
I just get these good deal on knives.
We're not going to say where these come from, but these are professional butcher knives. Folks, this is a boning knife, and we'll just say there's a couple in here. Okay?
There's a bunch of them.
There's also a sheep skinner as well.
There's skinners and boners.
And these are
Hey-oh.
Heyo.
Just give them.
We'll give one set away. Let's
Yeah.
say it's 3 knives.
And
There's
Ma-
6 knives. You could just put three,
No,
three
we're gonna give away 3.
3
They don't know how many's in the box.
Oh,
Well,
I-
they do now.
You make a
You told
box,
them,
you
Jim.
just put 3 boner knives and then 3 skinny knives.
Okay, 3 and 3, I guess.
Yeah.
Right,
Well,
so
they're nice knives. They're whatchamacallit, Victorinox.
Yeah.
So
So there you go, folks. A
And
Matt
Matt-
Hartzog special giveaway.
yeah.
Matt has a special outfit that he likes to wear, and he's going to personally deliver these knives
Oh,
in his
yeah,
special
right.
outfit.
That's only
and you'll just have to wait to find out to see
that's
what
only
it
for
is.
people that I trust.
That's for his only
They're in my
fans.
circle.
Oh,
Many
boy,
people
you're
have
giving
seen
too much
it.
away, Jim.
Uh,
You're giving too much away.
Okay, okay.
Well,
More
Yes,
Bigfoot stories.
More-
oh boy! We're not going back in and start telling.
All right,
Bigfoot
wrap
stories.
us up, Doug.
oh, let's wrap this up. So I guess with that said, stay humble and hunt hard.
Cheers.